Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are having a lovely evening. We are basically going to be working on finding slope from 2 points. Yes, now we're going a little bit more into the algebra component. So, yes, we are going to be doing a lot of basic math, but this is something that everyone needs. Okay, girl, don't follow me. Hey, how are you? She's like, oh, she said my name. Yes, I did. All right. Thank you so much for you guys coming in and joining in. As I was saying, this is going to be like the foundational piece for your algebra components. So anything dealing with slope, this is considered, if you're going for your GED, this is definitely a 4-point question. You want these, okay? The higher the point is 4. So if you can get anything that's dealing with slope, equation of the line, graphing, even factoring, volume, those are your 4-point questions. So if you are going after your GED, maybe your ASVAB, you're going to ACCUPLACER, or maybe even like your T's, which is the algebra component, any standardized test, even if you're looking at SAT or ACT, this is the live for you. So as you guys are coming in, go ahead and tap away because we're going to get started at the 1K mark. And if you're just like, hey, Audrey, I would love, and I do mean love, to stick around, but I can only pop in for a little bit, but I wish I can stay. Well, if you come here from my YT channel and also type in this, you can actually just go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, because all of my replays of my TikTok lives are there, okay? Now, I know schools are basically open for everybody right now, so if you are looking for a private tutor or even small group tutors, just go ahead and reach out. If you want any self-paced courses, that's going to help with the GED, ASVAB, T's, and even foundational algebra, go ahead and just go here for the website. And then after a while, I'm going to talk a little bit about the books that I provide and any other services that come around. So as you guys are coming in, I'll get started around the 1K. You can actually, let me zoom in. So get with the foundational piece of slope. I know a lot of us have probably heard the word slope or maybe even the words rate of change. So that's what we are looking at it. And we're not doing it graphically. We're going to be doing it algebraically. All right. So let's see what's going on as you guys are coming in and tapping away. Okay. Oh, no problem. Okay, we just got started, so you didn't miss anything, so you're all good. Okay, so you have to got to go. Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming in. All right, big fish. So what's your question, big fish? Okay, as you guys come on in, go ahead and tap away. Are you thinking about your question, big fish? What you got? Actually, you have used some of this. It's maybe not so much as equations because a lot of the apps nowadays actually do it. So you actually did slope, as especially a mechanical engineer. Yeah, you did. Hey, Danielle, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Okay. Hey, Big Al. How are you? Welcome on back. Yep. So we're going right into finding slopes. So as you can see, we haven't got really started yet. Just kind of like zoom in a little bit on some of the formula. So and we're going to be looking at this a little bit closer. Okay, almost there, guys. Well, hello, Jake Spoon. What's up with the E at the end? So for those that are coming in, thank you so much for stopping by, because right now tonight we're going to be working on finding the slope, and slope is just another name for gradient. So basically how steep, not as how steep is your love, but how steep is your line. So you ever like walked up a hill like I did today, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is not that bad. And then all of a sudden you take one step further, and all of a sudden it went from this to this. And you're like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Yeah, you are. Okay. Because the gradient changed dramatically. Okay. So it's like, how steep is that hill? Okay. Yes. That's what we're working on. Rate of change. Yep. And change of y's over the change of x's. All right, good. Glad you're here. Welcome on back, MG. All right, almost at our 1K. What time do I come on live tomorrow? Tomorrow is what, Friday? I'm actually might be coming on twice tomorrow, but definitely will be on at 7 p.m. I'm thinking about coming on a little early, maybe at 1 o'clock on Friday, on tomorrow. Okay, but definitely will be on at 7. Yep. All right, here we go. All right, so if we're trying to find the slope, like I was saying, the slope of a line is your gradient. How steep is your line? Now, another name for it would be rate of change. So sometimes you might see find the slope, or you might see find the rate of change. So when you're basically trying to find between 2 points, you are basically doing the change of y's over the change of x's. The little triangles is delta, delta meaning change. So you're basically taking your difference of your 2 y's and put it over the difference of your 2 x's. So if we're looking at it algebraically, and that's what we're going to be doing today, we are actually taking a look at 2 points, 2 coordinates. So we have our 1, 3 and our 7, 5. So if we take a look, since we normally read from left to right, this 1, 3, that could be the coordinates of our first point. So this will be the x and the y value of my first point, hence the 1. And this will be the x and the y value of my second point, hence the 2's. So as we are setting this up, it's always going to be the difference of those values. So if we notice here, we have our y2 minus my y1. So my y sub 2, which is our 5, minus my y sub 1, which is 3. Then we have our x sub 2, which is 7, minus my x sub 1, which is 1. So now all we have to do is basically go ahead with our subtraction. So 5 minus 3, that gives me 2. 7 minus 1, that gives me 6. Now, 2 and 6, they're both even numbers. So since there's even numbers, that means they can be divisible or divided by 2. So if I divide this by 2, and I divide this by 2, and the reason why I'm doing this division is I am simplifying my 2/6. So 2 divided by 2 will give me 1, and 6 divided by 2 will give me 3. So this is saying that those 2 points is giving me a gradient or a slope or a rate of change of 1/3. Okay, so that's going to be my slope. Now, another way as we're going to progress into graphing is that means my rise over my run. So that means I'm going to rise up 1 and I'm going to run 3. All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. So that's what we're basically doing. We're just basically looking at the difference. But we have to be cautious. Okay? If you're probably like, cautious of what? Okay, it's not like it's going to explode or anything, but we still have to be cautious, especially with the signage. Okay, so this is what I mean. If I had, let's say, -1, -2, and 2, 7. So as I mentioned before, since this is our first point, this will be my x1 and my y1. Since this is my second point, this is going to be the x and the y of my second point. So when we are looking at our slope, remember, it's the difference of your y's over the difference of your x's. So I'm going to show you that you can get the same answer if you do y2 minus y1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, or you can do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So let's do the traditional one. So we have our 7 minus a -2. Okay? We're plugging in the -2 for that y1. We are not touching this minus sign. So you're minusing a negative over my x sub 2, which is 2, minus a -1. I like to put my negatives when I'm substituting into a formula. I always put parentheses around it. For me, it gives me a reminder that I am substituting whatever that variable is or that space in the formula, just that one space. I'm not touching its signage. So now we got our minus a negative. When you minus a negative, it actually turns positive. So just like what Jocelyn has, we have 7 plus 2, that gives me a 9. Now down here is not going to be 1 because I minus a negative. When I minus a negative, they automatically turn positive. If you want to think of keep, change, switch, or keep, change, flip, or keep, change, whichever you prefer, that's what you need to do in order to make sure that we get the correct signage. So now we have 2 plus 1, that gives me 3. So now 9 over 3, I can think of just simple division. 9 divided by 3, that will give me 3 over 1, or just simply 3. Okay. Good. We got our 9/3. We got our 9/3. Good. We got our 3, a 3, a 3, and 3. Good job, everyone. Nice. Okay. So the most important thing is we have to understand our signage. When you are subtracting a negative, it actually turns positive. Okay. All right. So let's try another one. Let's say, okay, so we have -5, 2, and 1, negative 2. Okay. Okay, we don't want to turn any easy points away. None whatsoever. And I'm going to step it up after a couple more. Okay. So John's telling me negative 3 and negative 1. Kai is saying negative 3. Hello, Lisa. Welcome in. Hey, Rap. How are you? Okay, so simple concepts. Like, you don't have to graph them. Okay. Hey, Nisi. Thank you for a follow. So, again, this is my first point. So that's my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. This is my x sub 2 and my y sub 2. So this time I'm going to switch it around. So this time I want to see what y1 minus y2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. And I'm going to see if that's going to give me, and let me see if I can unshrink just a lot. And I want to see if that's going to give me the same answer if I said y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We'll see if we can get the same thing. All right. Hey, Amber, how are you? All right, so let's take a look. So I'm getting a negative 2/3. I'm getting a negative 4, negative 4. I'm getting 2/3. All right. Okay, we got Sharon with negative 3 plus 1. But I got... Really? Are you sure you got it figured out? Or are you just like, screw it, let me just conform? You know, you got it figured it out. All right, so let's take a look. So my y sub 1 is a 2. So 2 minus my y sub 2, which is a negative 2. Over my x sub 1, which is a negative 5. Minus my x sub 2, which is 1. Okay. All right. So now let's work what's going on in the numerator and the denominator. So now you have 2 minus a negative 2. So when you minus a negative, it actually turns positive. Okay? Only in math will you have 2 negatives equal to a positive. So now it's really 2 plus 2, which gives us 4. Then you have a negative 5 minus 1. So they're both negatives, okay? So if they both have the same sign, you're basically adding them together and keeping that sign. Now, if you're unsure of how we do this, I did do a video early on. I want to say, if not last week, probably the week before. So if anything, if you want to view that, and it's just basically adding, subtracting integers, if you go here and then type in this, it will take you straight to where it has like a playlist that says TikTok Lives. Okay, so you can go and you can peruse there. It's a free subscription, so go ahead and you'll get alerts of any new videos and comments, okay, and all that. So that means if I have -5, you owe me $5. And for some sick and twisted reason, I loaned you another $1. So that means you owe me $6. Okay? So with you owing me $6, I have a 4 and I have a -6. So I am going to reduce this by 2. So if I divide this by 2 and I divide this by 2, 4 divided by 2 will give me 2, right? And -6 divided by 2 will give me a -3. So my -2/3, there we go. Okay? So this is one way. Now, because we have it so programmed, this is why I do both. So now we're going to try it when it's the traditional way, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So what we do is we got our -2, okay, minus the 2 over my x sub 2, which is 1, minus my -5. So now let's take a look. -2 minus 2. Okay, you owe me $2. For some sick and twisted reason, I loaned you another $2. So that means you owe me $4. Now you have 1 minus a -5. When you minus a negative, they both turn positive. So it's really 1 plus 5. 1 plus 5 gives us 6. So now we can reduce. Just like how we reduced over here, they're both even numbers. So I know they're definitely divisible by 2. So this will give me a -2 over a positive 3 if I divide both by 2. So when it comes here, hey Jess, when it comes here, we're basically getting the same answer. They're both negative slopes. One shows that the negative goes with the 3. The other shows that the negative goes with the 2. Now, when it comes to negative slopes, one of the other has to be negative. It's either the numerator or the denominator, okay? It's never both. Because if both the numerator and the denominator are both negative, that means you have a negative divided by a negative, which gives you a positive situation. All right? So these are basically the same. So to answer that question, which she says she sees it now, it doesn't matter which way. The reason why we are told to go from the y2 minus the y1 is because the country that reads from right to left solves it that way. If you're here in the States, not to be like, woo, woo, go America, I'm not doing all that, but we naturally read from left to right. So you will get the same answer. If I go from left to right, our eyes easily glides from y to y and x to x. We always make mistakes, not so much with the y's when we do from y2 to y1. The part that always screws us up is the x's. And I'm going to tell you right here and now, that answer, when there's a wrong answer with the x's, is always an answer choice to one of your problems. Okay? So that's why sometimes I just go from left to right, left to right. And you have to follow that same pattern. You can't go left to right and then right to left. No, you'll get an answer, but it's not right. Okay, just keep it in that same frame. Meaning, my Y1 and my X1s, they're lined up. My Y2s and my X2s, they're lined up. Same thing is happening over here. Okay. I know. Okay. You're in college now and you're struggling? Well, welcome. Sweet poet, welcome. You're here. Yep, so they're both correct. Yep, welcome in. Okay, so if you're left-handed, what does being left-handed mean? Okay. So what do you mean with the negative? So the negative is either going to be in the denominator or the numerator. It can't be in both. So you have to pick and choose, because sometimes, if I may slide this over a little bit, just want to use this little space right here, because sometimes you'll see, like, say, negative 2/3 like this, and the negative's kind of off to the side. Majority of us will just tack that negative to the numerator. It's got to be one or the other. So you can say negative 2/3, or you can say 2/-3. Okay. It will change your direction, but it will still be part of the same line. Okay, good question. If it changes plotting, yeah, because like if I was to start, I would go down 2 and to the right 3. Whereas if my negative is in the denominator, I would go up 2, but to the left 3. But no matter what, those 2 points are going to be on the same line. And we'll see that when we do graphing. I think we're going to do graphing tomorrow. Okay, you're welcome. You just learned it today? Awesome. Yep. Do college level math. Do I ever do college level math? What do you mean? Like calculus? If it's calculus, definitely no. I just always focus on what will be helpful for people that are taking college algebra, maybe intermediate algebra. Usually those are the ones that a lot of people need assistance with, especially GED and ASVAB and ACCUPLACER and TEAS, because they haven't seen algebra in forever, and they've been told for so long that you just suck at math, and that's not necessarily true. Okay, you just haven't had an opportunity to get it broken down for you. Okay, you can definitely do it. Yep. Okay, trig, I just do the basic parts of trig. And I actually done a couple things with the sine and the cosine, especially their graphs. So again, you can go here and take a look and just type in the search engine for my channel on the sine and the cosine, and you'll see it. I think I did it either late July or early August. The days and the months are like really flying by. So it's like sometimes trying to keep track of all the other things I need to keep track of. It's like, yeah, can't really get that. All right, so let's try this one. And then we're gonna up the ante a little bit. So the top number is up and down, correct, and the bottom is left and right. Yes, Cynthia, you're good. So the top number, your numerator, those are your y's, and your y's always goes up and down. It's vertical. And your x's is left to right. So you're correct in your thinking. Good job. Tonight. All right, perfect. All right, thank you for sharing the lives. Thank you for coming in. Yes, thank you, Amber. Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay. So it goes to show it doesn't matter Okay? A lot of teachers are like, no, stick to this rule. That's it. Da, da, da. I'm telling you, especially if you're so used to reading from left to right, it really flows so much easier. Okay? We don't need to be stressed in math anymore. That's over with. Okay? All right. Okay. So, we have our first point. This is our x1. This is our y1. This is our x sub 2. This is our y sub 2. Okay. Try to find your slope. Okay. Why are you about to start to cry? You finally found someone that can give you the help that you need? That's so nice. Okay, don't worry. We're all about learning from each other, getting a moment when it's all over the place. That's perfectly fine. Okay? If you make a mistake, we correct it. We move on. Okay? It's not a life and death situation like we used to think when we were back in school. Okay? We're not doing that anymore. So just relax. Okay? Okay. Nope, don't want to do that. Thank you, Ernie, though. All right. Okay, so what do we get for answers? So I have 2/5. Oh, never mind. I have 5/2. Big Al with 5/2. What else we got? Okay. Marva Lee is saying 5/3. Why not? It's algebra. Because I don't want to. If you would like to do that, you can do that on your own platform. This is how I like to do things here. It's just me. Cynthia is saying 5/2. Oh, you put them opposite? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. So if I do, and I'm just going to pick one way. So if I did my 10 minus my -5, and then I did my 4 minus my -2, when I minus a negative, they both turned positive. So that will give me my 15/6. So we have an odd and we have an even, but 15 and 6 are both found in the multiples of 3. So if I divide it by 3, I will get a +5 over a +2. So my rise is a +5 and my run is 2 going to the right. Yep, you divide by 3. Awesome. Okay. Nice. Now, if you did it the other way, like the traditional way, you'll get the same answer. Okay, so you'll have your -5 minus 10. Okay, over your -2 minus 4. And as you can tell, -5 and -10, that will give us a -15. -2 and -4 will give me a -6. And a negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. And then 15/6, again, divided by 3 will give us our 5/2. Okay, so you will get the same answer regardless of which way you do. Okay, all right, you see what happened? All right. Okay. How are we feeling? Little thumbs up. How we're feeling. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Because this is a place. This is a safe place. I know I got a couple trolls in here. I think I silenced one. But, I know people have questions. But to be honest with you, this is the platform that I like to do. I like to break things down step by step. I want people that were usually afraid to ask questions to feel safe enough to ask those questions that they have. I know everything that I do on this platform is not going to be like to the T like a curriculum. I do have a tendency to jump from thing to thing because, some people may need a little bit more with graphing. Some people need a little bit more with maybe system of equations. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. If that's the case, that's the reason why I offer my tutoring services. Okay? So I'm giving you a little sample of what I do. Okay? If that's so wrong, I'm so sorry. But that's how I do. Okay? All right. Okay, everyone's doing good. How did the 10 turn negative? Because in the original equation for the formula, you're always taking the difference of your y's and your x's. So the original is a minus sign. Okay? So when I went with the traditional route, I did my y2, which is a -5, minus my y1, which is a +10. So I only substitute that 10 for that y1 in the formula. Okay? Okay. All right. Well, hello, Addicted. How are you? Calculate distance with x and y. Basically, your distance formula is this formula. It's the difference of your x's squared plus the difference of your y's squared. And it's all underneath a square root. So you're basically taking your part of the formula for slope, elongate it, instead of having it in fraction form. So your x's, the difference of your x's, you're going to square it, plus the difference of your y's, you're going to square it, and all of it is underneath a square root. Okay, that's your distance formula. Yep, and you just plug and chug just like how we did here. All right, awesome. Not a problem. Teach me something, I came late. I need for you to correct that terminology because you came late. Yeah, I don't deal with rudeness very well. All right, so while you're still tapping, get up to like 20. I know, right? Oh, and then today I was coming home from the gym and I saw this young lady at a bus stop. And yeah, I know for sure she did not leave her house like that. I know for sure she wasn't in school and her uniform was a middle school uniform. She was about like my size. Like I'm 6'1", so she was about a little over 6 foot. Okay. Yeah. I mean, she made a hooker look professional. Like, I was just like, what is this? So check your kids before you leave. I know some of us is really hard because you guys leave out before your kids go out in the street. Check your kids. Because I know she didn't. She was not like that all day in school. No way. No way. It was too crazy. All right. Y rhymes with rise, and we run from our exes. Oh, we don't have to run from our exes. Oh, no. We just dismiss them. But that works. Yeah, but if that works, hey, go ahead and do it. you. Ooh, what's going on? All kinds of craziness. Okay. You can never get this in school? No, it's all right. So we're going to break it down step by step. So now you're probably like, whoa. There's 3 points now, Audrey. Okay. So this is what happens. They're asking me to find the slope, okay, of a line that passes through all 3 of these points. Now, we already just looked at the equation of the line. I'm not the equation of the line, sorry, the slope. And the slope, depending on what you want to do, I'm going to say the difference of y's. Because it all depends if you want to do y2 minus y1 or y1 minus y2. No matter what, you're going to take the difference, okay? The difference of your y's over the difference of your x's. You can only do 2 points at a time. So if you want, we can say, all right, this will be my x1, this will be my y1. And we can say, all right, this will be my x2, and this will be my y2. You can pick 2 points. So if we want to go one route, I'm going to go for the y1 minus the y2 over my x sub 1 minus my x sub 2. So I'm going to have 1 minus negative 5. And then I'll have 2 minus negative 1. So when I minus a negative, it turns positive. So that means we have 6 over 2 minus a negative 1. That's really 2 plus 1. So that gives me 3. And 6/3 can be reduced to give me a whole number of 2, or you can have it set 2 over 1. All right, awesome. Hello, David Square. How are you? I hope you don't mind me calling you David Square. David Square. Good. Nice job, Kaya. Good, Addicted. Awesome job, Big Al. All right. So, keeping that in mind, we'd still have this other point that we didn't use. So if you want, you can say, all right, this is going to be my x sub 1 this time. Well, wait, let me use a different color so you can see it a little bit better. This is going to be my x sub 1, and this is my y sub 1. And then this time, this is my x sub 2, and this is my y sub 2. Just to ensure that they're going to give me the same slope. That's what we're looking for. So if I look at my change of y's over my change of x's, so I have my negative 5 minus 3, because it's a negative 5 minus this positive 3 over my negative 1 minus 3. So negative 5 minus 3, think of it this way. You owe me $5, okay? For some sick and twisted reason, I loaned you another $3. So that means you owe me $8. Same thing happened here. You already owe me $1. I loaned you another $3. So that means you owe me $4. So when we look at negative 8 divided by negative 4, a negative divided by a negative, that gives me a positive. And 8 divided by 4, that gives me 2 over 1, or just 2. So since we got the same answer, okay, This goes to show, if they ever give you a question that says find the slope of a line that passes through these 3 points, you only need to grab 2 of the points. Okay, you only need 2. And guess what? It doesn't matter which 2 you pick. You're going to get the same answer. So like if I wanted to show you what if I did this one and this one, let me put that in green. See, I'm just showing you. When you do these on your test or any kind of homework assignment, you don't have to get this cray-cray. Just pick one. Just pick one set and just do it one time. So if I want to, I could have done -5 minus 3. Okay, I think I already did that one. Oh, I was supposed to do this one. -5 minus 1. Forgot to do with the first ones. So, no, what am I doing? I'm losing my mind. Let's try this again. We're going to do these 2. There we go. So if I said 3 minus 1 over 3 minus 2, okay, I'm using these 2 points. So 3 minus 1 gives me 2. And 3 minus 2 gives me 1, which also gives me a slope of 2. So the reason why I'm doing this is to show you it doesn't matter which 2 of the order pair combos that you picked. You're going to get the same answer. Okay? No, it's not 4. 3 minus 1. Good try, though. No, I didn't. Yeah. Dylan! Yes, you definitely do. Yep, it all comes out the same. So I think majority of the time when you guys do problems like this, regardless if it's a test, homework assignment, whatever, you guys get so fixated by, okay, which one should I do? I don't want to screw this up. You can't screw it up, okay? You just pick. Are you going to do the first 2? Are you going to do the middle and the last one? Are you going to do the 2 on the ends? Regardless, you're going to get the same answer, okay? All right, it all comes out the same, okay? Yep, so it doesn't matter if you do your y2 minus y1, your x2 minus x1, or if you do your y1 minus y2, or your x1 minus x2. You get the same answer. All right? So no stress. No stress, no strain. All right. So let's take it slightly up a notch. You're like, oh no. Just slightly up a notch. Okay? Nope, we're not doing that. It's all we're doing is slope. So, what happens if I say we need to find the slope of the line, okay? Or actually, let's do this one. This is really going to challenge us. So let's say we have 2 points. And we know this. And we know this other order pair. But we know that our slope is -2/3. Okay. Okay. All right. What's different? Hey, Michael. What's different? All right. Well, thanks, Amber. Appreciate it. the y. Exactly, Big Al. Okay? So this time, they want us to find what y is. So if we know, let's put it this way, if you can solve it one way, you'll be able to solve it the other way. That's how you know that you truly understand something. So let's put it this way. We know our equation is m equals, and if you want to do the y2 minus the y1 over the x sub 2 minus the x sub 1, if that's your thing. That means this is going to be my first point. So that's my x1. This will be my y1. This will be my x2, because that's my second point. And that's the y of my second point. And they're giving us our slope. Okay? I always see one of these, at least one of these on SATs, ACTs. Okay, I see them in college algebra. Sometimes you have a teacher that wants you to, change things up. All right. So now, will the y be 1 by default? The y is right now, it could be any number. It could be anything. The 1 that you're speaking of is what's in front of the y. This is a 1y. The coefficient is 1. Not the value of y. The value of y is what we're actually going to look for. All right. A little tricky, but that's okay. So now we're going to plug stuff in. So for my m, we're going to plug in our negative 2/3. And I'm going to make my fraction a little bit large. My y sub 2 is a 7. The y sub 1 is my y. My x sub 2 is my negative 5. Minus my x sub 1, which is a negative 2. Okay. Oh, Jay, I'm glad you found your people. Welcome. Welcome on in. All right, welcome in. Thank you so much. Now, we have a fraction equaling a fraction. This is what's called a proportion. So we can clean things up by getting this negative 5 minus a negative 2. So what's negative 5 minus a negative 2? Okay, hey Neek, how are you? All right, so Big Al saying 7, Danny, hey Danny, saying negative 3, Janice says negative 7, Danielle says negative 3, Addictus says negative 3. It becomes a positive. We're gonna see. Okay, this becomes a positive. That's correct. Okay, Neek saying negative 3, Amber negative 3, Marvelli negative 3. Okay, awesome. Good. Hey, Mom. Okay, M is saying negative 3. Awesome. Big Al, you got it with the negative 3. There we go. Sharon saying positive 7. Okay, so let's take a look. So we have a negative 5 minus a negative 2. Now, everything is not turning. You're going to keep this to be a negative 5. All right, let me kind of write this down right here. So we're going to keep that negative 5 the way it is. We're going to change that minus to a plus. And we're changing that negative 2 to a positive 2. So everything doesn't change, just the minus sign and the negative for the 2. So now we have -5 plus 2. You owe me $5. You paid me 2. That means you still owe me $3. Okay, so that's where the 3 is coming from. Okay, do we see it now? Okay. All right. Okay. So now, you were thinking about adding? Okay. Yep, and since the signs are opposite, you're really subtracting, and you're keeping the sign of the largest number. All right, okay, good. So now we have a fraction equal to a fraction. And you're probably saying, well, Audrey, like, how do I isolate this 7 minus y so it could be by itself, because we really want to solve for y. That's the goal. We want to get our y by itself on this side of the equal sign. So we can do one of two things. If we treat it as a proportion, that means we're actually doing what's called cross multiplying. So this is what it looks like. It's 3 times 7 minus y equals -2 times -3. That'll give me a positive 6. Okay, and I'll show you another way that I can do this. Let me finish this thought, and then I'll show you the other way. Okay, and then you pick which way works for you. So now we could distribute, okay? We could distribute this 3 to everything inside the parenthesis. Or, oh, there's an or. Yes, there's an or. Okay, or since this 3 is being multiplied to that 7 minus y, what's the opposite or the inverse of multiplication? What's the inverse of multiplication? The opposite. Big Al is saying divide. Danielle S is saying divide. Yes. Neek's saying divide. Okay. Janice is saying divide. Yes. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We could divide both sides by 3. Only when it's multiplication. If there's a plus sign or a minus sign in between the 3 and that parenthesis, you can't do this. But since there isn't anything there, this is representing multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division, so they are gone. So what remains is my 7 minus y is equal 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. Okay, good. Good, Sharon, I see you now. So now we're solving for y. Okay, so we got our 2's. Good. We're solving for y. What do I need to do next? Solving for y. What do we need to do next? So Danielle S is saying -7. Jen is saying add. Danny's saying add y, then -2. We can do that. You're just moving things around. But we can -7 says Big Al. -7 say is it Annika? Kai say -7, subtract both sides by 7. Good. Add 7. Remember, it's always going to be the opposite. The signage is always going to be on the left for the number. So this minus sign is with that y. So if I subtract 7 on both sides, 7 minus 7 will give me 0. We don't need the placeholder of 0 because we still have our minus y. 2 minus 7, that'll give us what? Good, Kaya. Good. There you go, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. So 2 minus 7, you have $2. You want to buy something that costs $7. That means you are $5 short. So that's why that is a -5. Good, Big Al. And bring the 2 back. Yeah. I mean, you can switch around. You could add y on both sides, then subtract 2 on both sides. You can do that. Or you can keep going and then just divide by a -1. Okay, since that y is here, you're going to get the same answer, which is great. Because a negative divided by a negative will give me my positive. And then -5 divided by -1, that will give me my positive 5. Again, if you like to do adding the y and then subtracting the 2 to get your 5 equals y, you can do that. Because you got to remember, if we're talking about GED testing, ASVAB testing, TEAS testing, testing to be a nurse, testing to be an electrician, apprentice, if you're trying to get a little bit SAT, even ACT, it doesn't matter, whatever standardized test out there. They only care, did you pick A, B, C, D, or sometimes E, depending on the test. Okay? Did you pick the right letter? They're not going to say, oh, let me look at your scrap paper to see, oh, you got it right on your scrap paper. No, they're not going to look at your scrap paper. Hell, they may not even recycle it. They might just chuck it in the trash. Okay? So when it comes down to it, you can do one of 2 ways. Now, here's another way, and I'm going to rewrite the -2/3 equals 7 minus y over the -3 that we got. What we could do is we can get rid of this -3 down here. If we wanted to, we could have multiplied both sides by -3. So -3 times -3, they will cancel out. Then over here, I have a -3 divided by 3. That will give me a -1. So -1 times -2, that will give me a 2, equals 7 minus y. Okay? So if you treat it like fractions, not so much as a proportion, you can basically get rid of your denominator by multiplying both sides and see what you can simplify, okay, or cross simplify. So then we would, I don't know, you guys like to add the y, if that's what you want to do. If you want to add the y and then subtract the 2, you can do that all in one line. It looks a little crazy for some that are just like, whoa, I haven't seen this in forever. But if you want to do it all in one line, you can. And then you get your answer of y is equal to 7 minus 2, which gives me 5. Okay. So if you like step-by-step with proportions, you can do that. If you want to take it a little advanced by getting rid of the denominators, you can do that. Okay? You got options. All right? Hello, Mean. Okay? Nope, it's not wrong to do that. Someone answer me. I am studying for T's. Okay? What was your question? Because it's kind of, it's kind of hard for me to do work and answer questions at the same time. So let's see. What is your question? Because I don't see it. Yep. -7 by 1. Let's get the answer. School. Yep. You can do more than one. Meme, I don't see your question. So, unless you really do have a question, just rewrite it if you don't mind. Yeah, I don't see that. Okay, so multiple ways, like everything in life, there's multiple ways of getting the same answer. Okay, as long as you can basically provide the steps if you're currently in college algebra, but if you just want to break it on down, yep, there's multiple ways of solving it. Yep. So it's up to you, but no matter what, you want to find your unknown. Okay, since we wanted to find that unknown, simplify what's going on in the denominator, then you could have cross multiplied. And then from here, if you wanted to distribute the 3, you can do that as well. I'll even show that. I know, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse right here, but if it helps you to feel comfortable with going into any kind of assessment, I'll do it. Okay, that's why I'm here. So, like where I was here, when I divide both sides by 3, if you want to, you could distribute that 3 to everything inside of its parenthesis. So 3 times 7, that gives me my 21, minus 3 times negative y gives me a negative 3y equals 6. All right. So now from here, I'm going to subtract the 21. Don't need the 0 because I still have my negative 3y. So this will give me my negative 15. Then if we divide both sides by negative 3, you will get y is equal to a positive 5. Okay? That's what you did? Awesome. I know, right? 17 ways. I try to keep it to like 3 because I don't want it to get so overwhelming. And so sometimes it drives me nuts when I do have teachers that are like, I just want you to do this one way. There's multiple ways. And there might be some people that just like the distributive property and they feel fine with that. There'll be some students that feel really comfortable with fractions and they can do it this way. There are some people that are really good at identifying that, oh, this is multiplication. I can divide both sides for a slightly shorter way. So it's up to you. Let me unzoom a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be up to you. All right. I know, it's like 20 ways to get back to Kevin Bacon. I wonder who started that. Like, why, of all people, why Kevin Bacon? It's crazy. All right. All right. So, would you like for me to give you one more just like this one? Or are you good? You like to distribute? Not a problem. Last method was easy? Okay. Not a problem. All right. One more? One more. Okay. Let's see if I can. I'm just going to put it on this regular sheet of paper. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it on this sheet of paper, but I'm going to leave this one up here so you can use as a reference. All right. So give me a moment. So we have negative 10 comma y, and then we had 5 comma 2, and we're saying our slope was 2/5. So I'm going to have you guys get a chance to look at this. Write it on your paper. No, this is going to be the last one. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can come on twice tomorrow. I'll try to go for a workout a little earlier. Okay. Sure. Twice what times? Twice what times? What do you mean twice? Oh, twice what times? Oh, for tomorrow? I know 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock, but I'm going to try for 1 o'clock. But I'm definitely going to come on at 7. Okay. So I'm going to try. Okay, I can fit it like this. But see, a lot of you guys like the distributive properties. So I am going to try to fit the last one. And I think the comments may get in the way. So what I'll do is do like this. That's smart. Some days I use my brain. Use my brain for the power of good. So I'm going to cover this part up. Since you kind of like all that. Okay. Yeah, you can do abstract algebra. You can do that. Okay. Thank you for the follow, William, and all others that have been following. Okay, you're stuck. Don't forget to put it inside the equation. Remember, this is your x1, your y1, your x2, and your y2. So Big Al, were you able to plug them in? Just kind of curious where you're stuck at. Okay, so for those, yes, really means change, delta. Waiting to see where you went wrong. Okay. Okay. Yep, so we're just finding slope. Yep, not a problem. Okay. All right, so Annika think it's 5. Okay, I'm thinking it's -4, Kaya. Okay. So Dick is saying -4. Okay, you know so. Okay. She's like, I know so. It's like, okay, we're gonna see a little bit of this sass. Let's see what we got. Alright. Okay, and if you're not sure, remember, you could put a question mark in the chat. Okay, you're still participating. Even if you're like, I don't know what this is, put a question mark in there. Okay? No harm, no foul. It's perfectly fine. Because some of you guys haven't seen this since you were a fetus. Like, seriously. It's been a minute. Okay? So, give yourself some grace. You were like, oh, I saw it this morning in class. I'm like, well, that was your first day of class, right? Or maybe second. Or something like that. Yes, Thursday. It's probably your 4th day of class, but still, it's been a while. Okay? Question mark to the 4th power. All right, I got you, Big Al. I got you. All right. Okay. Let's take a gander. All right. So now we're going to have our change of y's over the change of x's. And it's going to equal our slope, which they gave us. Okay? So, for my slope, I'm going to have my 2/5 equals. Now, the change of my y's, if you want, you can do the traditional, which is going to be 2 minus y. Over 5 minus -1. I mean -10. Okay. So now this 5 minus -10, when you minus a negative, it turns positive. So it's actually going to be 2/5 is equal to 2 minus y over 5 plus 10, which gives me 15. Okay. All right. So now, when we have a fraction equal to a fraction, not when a fraction is times a fraction, but when a fraction is equal to a fraction, this is when you can do cross multiplication. What do you guys call it? Butterfly wings or something like that? So now, all I'm doing is doing 5 times, not just the 2. That's why I'm putting parentheses around it. So I have 5 times 2 minus y. That means I'm going to have to multiply that 5 to both the 2 and this -y. Equals 2 times 15, which gives me 30. Okay, good. Got it. That's what you got. Awesome. Now, this is the part that you guys like. I'm going to take what you guys said. Oh, yeah, this is what I do. I understand. So now we're going to do, we could divide both sides by 5, but a lot of you guys love the distribution. So I'm going to do what you love. Okay? You can divide both sides by 5. That's perfectly fine. But if we want to distribute, you got 5 times 2, which gives you 10. Minus 5 and the y gives you minus 5y is equal to 30. Okay, does this look familiar now? Okay. All right, Big Al, does this look familiar now? Yes? Okay, all right. So what do we do next? Okay, we're going to subtract the 10. Good. Good, Kaya. Good, Danielle. Good, Big Al. I see you guys. Good. So subtract the 10 on both sides. Positive 10 and negative 10 will cancel out. So I can bring down my negative 5y equals 30 minus 10. That gives me 20. Okay, taking notes, awesome. Okay, so we got that 20. So now, there we go, Kaya, thank you. So we're going to divide both sides by the negative 5. So negative 5 divided by negative 5 gives me 1, and it's actually 1y. So now 20 divided by negative 5, when you're dividing and the signs are opposite, your answer is also going to be negative each and every time. So your answer is y is equal to negative 4. Okay. Do you see why this is a 4-point question? If you're taking your GED, this is a 4-point question. Okay, if you're seeing this on the ASVAB, you are actually doing pretty good. You're like in the 50s. 50s close to 60s. Okay, anytime you see like say volume, you know you're doing good. When you see volume of anything, and majority of the time when they go into volume, it's going to be a rectangle, a prism, a cylinder, a cone, sometimes a pyramid. Most majority of the time is a rectangle, pyramid, or a cylinder. If you're starting to see volume, you're basically in the high 60s. You're doing really well. Okay. All right, good. Yep. Answer's B. You're really close. It's actually C. All right. Okay, Sharon. Have a good night. Okay, everyone. So that's basically, it's funny because I am looking at it. It was a multiple choice question, and negative 4 was answer C. Very close. All right. So that's when you're dealing with slope between 2 points. As a lot of people will say that this is finding slope algebraically because we're using the formula. Okay. Normally, when you're in class, always go with C. Normally, when you're in class, they like to do algebraically, numerically, and possibly graphically all in one class. I'm going to break it down step by step this time because I want to make sure that you understand. And then just give you a couple twists here and there. Okay? All right. Any questions? Okay, any questions? Now, not a problem. Not a problem. Could I screw up? Have a question? Okay, no. Thank you. Not a problem. Andrea, what could I screw up? Have a question. What's your question? Ask your questions. You may or may not like the answer, but you can always have the freedom to ask your questions. So, when will I do more of these? I know tomorrow I'm going to be looking at it numerically and graphically. So numerically doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of time. So I'm thinking about doing both of those tomorrow. Okay. Okay. For the button, isn't it? Okay. So that's the part that you probably missed because I just went over all of that. So I know for tomorrow, if you go here, okay, I explain why you can use both of them. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. So if you go to my YT and you go to ACG Math Tutoring, I'm going to try to have it up by tomorrow morning because sometimes it takes forever to download and to upload. But it does. Okay. All right. Okay, not a problem. Yes, I do. Everything's in there, covering linear equations, quadratic equations, factoring, did a little bit of geometry, a little bit of trig. We also did sine and cosine, looking at their sound waves. Yep, did everything on there. And all you have to do is just look up where it says the playlist, where it says TikTok Lives. I know, it's a really mind-provoking title. But if you do go there, you'll be able to see all those step-by-steps. And again, if you don't see something, you need something particularly to focus on, heck, you can ask for my private tutoring. You can also do a lot of my self-paced courses if that's what you need. But if you like the design of my notebook here, it's not just sheets of paper, it's actually inside of a book. I do provide those here for sale, but here's my thing. For the month of September, so that is going to be on Monday. Can you believe it? Okay, I am going to come on. I actually have a lot of students, so a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, it's a day off." And like, no, not for me. I'm going to be tutoring majority of the day, which I am perfectly fine with that because some teachers like to give tests after a holiday. These new school teachers. Okay, but if anything, the whole month of September, I'm selling all my books at 50% off. So not only do I have like all my notebooks, it gives you a nice room, it gives you a place for your formulas, a place for your steps, okay, and room for you to do calculations on both sides of it. So in addition to all this, I also have references. Okay, so a nice little resource section in the very back. You have a factor chart that goes from 1 to 200. We also have a reference page that does addition, subtraction, multiplying, dividing, equals, and equality. Then also get your perfects. You know, we know the squares and the square roots pretty decent, but the cubes and the cube roots always wasn't really emphasized. There's not too many reference sheets that you see in any other notebook. So here you go with the Ultimate Math Notebook. Now, another thing is your inequalities. Looking at your different signage, okay? Looking at the directions and also the interval notation. How to write it as an inequality, how to write it as an interval notation. What are your rules for integers? That's a huge thing, as well as your linear and your quadratic. Hey, that looks familiar. Okay, then you have your order of operations, your properties of exponents, okay, decimal, fraction operation, looking at your transition from one to the other, your system of equations, which if you're currently in Algebra 1 or even college algebra, this is coming up soon, as a quick reminder. Graphing linear inequalities, system of inequalities. So these are found in my Ultimate Math notebook for pre-algebra and algebra 1. Okay, so that's what this one is. This is my newest one. So it gives you 100 pages of the dot and the grid so you can do your notes. But in addition to that, for all my lefties out here, I have the same thing but my lefty edition. So see how it opens? Look at this. Okay, this is going to be fun for me using. All right, so if you're lefty and you need something, you have this. Again, this is the cover for the pre-algebra and algebra 1. I'm going to order my algebra 2 and pre-calculus book, and that's updated. And if you want to know where to go, you can go here, but wait until Monday, because then you can take advantage of the sale, because you're going to need more than one of these books. Okay, I write rather large, and I know I'll probably go through 1 1/4. So if anything, probably get like 2 of them for you guys that like to write small, and that you should be able to handle that for the whole entire year. Okay, all righty. Okay, all right. Yeah, we can definitely do 50K, and we can stop right there. So we're almost there, because I know it's pretty late and everybody wants it. Is it listed in your bio? If you do, you can go here, because that's in my bio. You can go there, and then when you click on that, it will actually give you a section of where you can order it. But you can order it direct, and the sale is only here, because my books are also on the big A. I can't say the A, the brown box with the smile on it. Okay, yes, it's available there, but the sale, the 50% off, is only going to happen here. Okay, it's only going to happen inside my bookstore. Okay, prep notebook. Most of the GED prep notebook is going to be this one. Okay, the one for pre-algebra and algebra 1, because that's what you need, because it goes basically up to the algebra 1 components. Okay, so like you're gonna need these things. Okay, also distance and speed. Okay, does it have every single solitary thing in algebra 1? Of course not, because if so, this book will be hella thick, and with it being so thick, it's gonna be super, super expensive. So, we have to pick and choose some things. You're so welcome. All right. All right, so that is basically what I have here. Oh, thank you. We got to 50K. I appreciate that. So again, make sure you guys go here so you can get all the replays. Give me until tomorrow to get tonight's replay, unless it behaves. If it behaves, then I was like, all right, awesome. We can do that tonight. If you can do these 5 things: subscribe, like, comment, share, and also go ahead and follow me here. It'll be perfectly fine, because I tried to come on at least once a day. Okay, but tomorrow I'm probably going to come on twice, because one of the other things, if you know of anyone that has an 11th grader that's going to be taking the PSATs in October, and they want to do some review, because the PSATs for juniors is vital. This is when, based on your scores, colleges can kind of look for additional scholarships for you, as well as see if you can get into that National Merit Scholarship. And if you just need to tweak your thinking a bit, I am having and it's starting next Wednesday. I'm going to have like a 5-week, so you can do either just Wednesday sessions or just the Saturday sessions, or if you want to double up, you can double up, because the Wednesday and the Saturdays are separate. So it's not like, oh, what I learned on Wednesday, I'm going to pass it on to Saturdays. No, it'll be 2 completely worlds. So breaking concepts down, giving you some quick tips and understanding. So if you know of anybody, you can send them my way. You can just, share my information with them, or take a look at a couple of posts that I have presented and just make a comment in there. All right. So for more information. All right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a lovely evening. And I will see you tomorrow, either at 1 o'clock, but definitely at 7. And we're going to be doing finding slope numerically, which means looking at a table, as well as graphically. Okay, we might throw in verbally. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how far we go. Alrighty? All right. Okay, have a lovely evening. Take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, love you all. Keep being amazing people. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me. Okay, go ahead and message me and let me know what exactly you need. All right. Okay, guys, have a great one. Take care. Bye now.